With the 2020 draft slowly but surely coming into fruition, it is that time of year again when a new mock draft pops up every morning and analysis on the top prospects such as LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards is in abundance. But this year, after the first group of top prospects and college stars, there's a lot of uncertainty among experts when looking at the next few tiers of potential draftees. This could allow for players to jump their projected draft pick and go much higher. These are what we like to call sleeper picks. And in today's video, I'll be analyzing a few draft prospects that tend to go under the radar and haven't hit mainstream media, but could turn out to be some of the biggest steals of the 2020 draft. But to fully understand my picks, first we should further define what a sleeper is. The term sleeper may describe players who fly under the radar and emerge late to go higher than expected. The players who may be higher on team boards than initially suspected or projected. They're out there every year, lurking. Most recently, we had Cam Johnson, who was projected late in the first or maybe even early in the second, but to not only our surprise, even his own college teammates surprised Kobe White. The Phoenix Suns selected him with the 11th overall pick in the 2019 draft.
Zach Elb, CBS Sports Radio, WFAN. Cameron Johnson just went 11th. How do you react to that news?
He went what?
11th.
Cam
in
Johnson
the draft.
11th.
Yep, it's right on the screen right there.
Wow. Wow, bro. That's crazy. That's so love, bro.
For now, only time will tell if the Suns sleeper pick will work out in the long run, but the 6'9" small forward has averaged 8.1 points while averaging a steady 40% from the three-point arc. Now it's our job to find who the Cam Johnsons of this year will be. But before we get into that, if you're new here, make sure you like and subscribe. I'm not Matisse Thybulle or JaVale McGee, but we try to produce the highest levels of content weekly, and with your support, it will only make it easier. But enough of that, let's get into the video. To truly determine who a sleeper pick really is, I made a metric to create more background on why they got my pick as a sleeper. The metric is based off of a mixture of the latest mock drafts and taking the single draftee's highest draft pick and the lowest draft pick and created a draft range for the player. It is not perfect, but basically if I see a player who could outperform the draft range, then to me, they're considered a sleeper. From this metric, I found 5 players that could excel in the league and prove to be the biggest steals of the draft. Starting with the back end of the first round, up first I chose Mamadi Diakite. The 6'9" power forward is one of the most polished prospects in the upcoming draft and one of the most versatile players in college basketball. If you watched ACC basketball over the past few years, you should be familiar with the Virginia's do-it-all big man. The Cavalier this past season averaged a team-high 13.7 points and was second in rebounds, averaging 6.8 boards a game. He possesses a high motor, quick instincts, and the ability to space the floor, shooting 36.4% from deep. Mamadi, to no surprise, is knocked down in his draft projection due to his age. At 23 years of age, Mamadi is one of the oldest prospects in the draft, which caused many teams to shy away from him. Many mocks have him projected early to mid-second round, but I think he'll surprise many and get picked from the 27 to 34 draft range, as even though he's 23, he is rapidly improving and can prove to be an above-average role player at the next level. Mamadi's play is similar to that of Jaren Jackson Jr.'s at the power forward position, and for me would be his NBA comparison. They both possess good defensive instincts, the ability to space the floor, and are excellent rim protectors. Jaren Jackson Jr. does have an extra 2 inches as he is standing a strong 6'11", but if Mamadi can add a bit of weight and muscle to his frame, he could compete in the power forward position while also being able to guard centers. With the right system and coaches, Mamadi could have a very promising career and should not be overlooked in this year's draft. Moving up the draft board, we have Jalen Smith, whose predicted draft range is from 20 to 27. The big man out of Maryland has developed into one of the best stretch fives and defensive leaders in college basketball. Jalen Smith averaged over 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks per game, while also shooting that 37% clip from distance. With the ability to play both power forward and center, thanks to his shooting ability, Smith has the versatility and quickness to attack off the dribble and can hang with bigs on the perimeter and inside. A cause of concern may be his raw offensive game, but Smith is a true stretch 5 and can be the defensive catalyst for an NBA team. His shot blocking ability, alongside his ability to stretch the floor, gives him an NBA comparison to Miles Turner. Both are their respective team's defensive leader and can shoot the 3-ball at a high percentage for a center. Both also have very quick feet for their size and can run the floor, which makes them not only harder to guard, but also better defensively. If developed correctly, Jalen Smith can truly become the next great prototypical stretch 5. Now towards the middle of the first round, we have the one and only Josh Green. The freshman out of Arizona University had a year of ups and downs, which has caused his draft stock to fluctuate as well. In a CBS mock, Josh Green goes as early as 15, and in a Sports Illustrated mock, he goes as late as 23. It is safe to say we don't know where in the first round the versatile guard will go, but given his potential, I wouldn't be surprised if he's taken in the late teens. He's rangy with a solid frame on the defensive end, and his physical profile coupled with a potential all-around utility makes him a super intriguing prospect. His inconsistency at times brought upon some concern, but the freshman has a fluid offensive game and almost an even better defensive game. To shed some light on how good Green can be, I thought a good comparison to make would be Kelly Oubre. Oubre possesses a knack to score the basketball on one side while pestering the opposing team's guard on the other. His mixture of qualities from cutting to the basket, to playing off ball, to attacking the basket with no regard for human life, all of these qualities Josh Green showed off in flashes when he was at his best. This, alongside their explosiveness and athleticism, makes their play very easily comparable. If Josh Green can iron out his jump shot and inconsistencies, he has the potential to create a career similar to that of Kelly Oubre or possibly even better. Now that we have addressed the back end of the first round, it's time to get into the lottery. Up first, we have the Wildcats' very own Sadiq Bey. The fact that most scouts barely even talk about him blows my mind in itself. Bey was an enormous part of the Wildcats' success this past year and played a huge role defensively. He proved he was versatile on defense, guarding the lightning-quick 6'2" Devon Dotson to guarding 6'10" power forwards. He ultimately can guard any position from the 1 all the way to the 4. Sadiq's 3-ball isn't to be taken lightly either, as he averaged 45% from beyond the arc, ranking in the top 2% in college basketball, according to Synergy. His 3-point percentage beat the likes of Ray Allen and Stephen Curry during their college tenure, and that should speak for itself. Teams nowadays drool over 3-and-D prospects, which makes me question why the highest he has gone in a mock is at number 12, and how he could have fallen all the way down to 19 on some mocks. While there are some concerns, the main one is his lack of explosiveness off of his first step. When a player has the ability to shoot like Bey, defenders have to close out even harder to make sure he doesn't score. When they close out, Bey needs to be able to take advantage and explode off of his first step to get to the hole. Without that, Bey's offensive game will be very limited considering he doesn't have much of an isolation game. But this can be developed over time, and considering his weaknesses are very limited, he'll have more time to focus on specific areas of his game. With that being said, his playstyle is comparable to that of Danny Green's. Both boast a hot 3-point shot while also being known for their defensive prowess. Green's offensive game is also limited to being a spot up and doesn't get the opportunity to create his own shot off the dribble much. That being said, growing up, Bey was 5'8" as a high school freshman, so he played point guard during his high school career. Because of this, he retained a few point guard skills, such as reading the floor and making the right pass, which can make him a bit more dangerous on offense. Bey could turn out to be one of the best 3-and-D players in the league in a few years, and if he can develop the ability to create his own shot, he might just turn out to be the biggest steal of the draft. Last, but definitely not least, my personal favorite prospect of this year, Killian Hayes. Mocks have his draft range going from the 5th pick all the way up to the 10th pick. Hayes is one of the most promising young prospects and is flat out the best passer out of ball screens in this draft class. He has good size for a lead point guard, standing 6'5", and can score in a variety of different ways. Analysts tend to drop his draft stock because of his questionable jumper, and while it's true he only shot 29% from the 3-point line, he has one of the quickest and purest shooting strokes in the whole class, so he can improve on this part of the game easier than others. Another downside is his tendency to favor his left hand almost every single time, but even with this bad habit, he has no trouble finishing below the rim and can score in the paint effortlessly with floaters and quick layups. His playstyle reminds me of a combination of two players, D'Angelo Russell and Dragic, during his All-Star year. All three are left-handed and crafty playmakers who can create their own shot almost willingly. They lack an explosive first step, but make up for it with their patience and agility. All three of their games are so smooth and creative, and if Killian Hayes can hone in on bettering his shot, I can see him cutting out a career similar to that of Russell's or Dragic. Now, I don't only want to tell you guys my 5 steals of this draft. I want to hear your guys' opinions too, and if you think there are other sleepers in the draft, comment them down below and let's have a discussion. With that being said, I'm beyond happy that the NBA is finally back as we inch closer to the draft. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, and if this receives a bit of support, I'll gladly do a part 2 for sleepers in the 2020 NBA draft. Until next time.